I'm Chaplain Johnson. This is Cop Church. We're in episode 2 of being a servant to all. If you were about to put your hand next to a poisonous snake and suffer imminent harm, would you want me to warn you? If the answer is yes, then watch the rest of this episode of Cop Church. If the answer is no, turn this off immediately and step slowly away from your device you're watching it on. Okay? All right, now that you have the disclaimer and the warning, it's on you. If you're still watching, then let me share this with you. Tell me the difference in professionalism, confidence, and arrogance. What's the difference? Professionalism, confidence, and arrogance. There is a difference. Which one of those is offensive? Is professionalism offensive? Is confidence offensive? Is arrogance offensive? I'm not talking about the general public right now. I'm talking to you. What's offensive to you? Maybe none of them. Maybe all of them. I don't know. That's up to you. But this is going to be a personal evaluation that you must make for you. I must make for me. I can't do it for you. So I have no one in mind other than myself. And so if you think I'm preaching to you, you're mistaken. But Cinderella, if the shoe fits, make the appropriate adjustments, all right? I wonder if this would be true. If I came off as offensive to you, would it be true that I'll never be able to minister to you? Would it be true that there would be distance in our relationship? You see me coming, you're going, oh man, that guy's so offensive, I don't want to be around him. There would be gossip behind my back. There would be crude humor, possibly off-color jokes. There'd be a lack of respect. I could end up isolating myself from you and the rest of society. And the same thing, my friend, can happen to you. And here's what we've got to guard against. Our scripture last week, and I'm going to read it again, in Matthew, Jesus is talking to the crowd and his disciples. The teachers of religious law and the Pharisees are the official interpreters of the law of Moses. So practice and obey whatever they tell you, but don't follow their example, for they don't practice what they teach. They crush people with unbearable religious demands and never lift a finger to ease the burden. Everything they do is for show. On their arms they wear extra wide prayer boxes with scripture verses inside, and they wear robes with extra long tassels. They love to sit at the head of the table at banquets and the seats of honor in the synagogues. They love to receive respectful greetings as they walk in the marketplaces and to be called Rabbi. Don't let anyone call you Rabbi, for you have only one teacher, and all of you are equal as brothers and sisters. And don't address anyone here on earth as Father, for only God in heaven is your spiritual Father. And don't let anyone call you Teacher, for you have only one teacher, the Messiah. The greatest among you must be a servant. But those who exalt themselves will be humbled, and those who humble themselves will be exalted. What sorrow awaits you, teachers of religious law, and you Pharisees, hypocrites. I just want to point out a few phrases in this scripture reading that apply to me and apply to you. Pharisees, legalist, going by the letter. I don't know if you heard on the radio last Sunday's sermon. I'm not going to re-preach it, but it was all about, am I a Pharisee? What does it take to be a Pharisee? And we found out that the Pharisee is more concerned with the rule than with the relationship. It's not about people. How does one become isolated from society? Be more about the rules than the relationship. That's what the Pharisees ended up being. Now, Jesus said this, and Jesus didn't lie. They don't practice what they teach. As a preacher, I think you look more at what I do than what I say. I'm guessing. As a law enforcement officer, so does the public. They look at what you do. Do you stop at the stop sign, etc.? You've heard this a million times, and it ticks you off. I know. I understand. I'm not talking about in your patrol car when you're going to a call. I'm talking about when you're in your personal vehicle and you're just chilling. They covered this when I went to Alita about being a hypocrite and how can you give somebody a ticket if you do the same thing yourself. La, la, la. You've heard that a million times. But the Pharisees, they don't practice what they teach. I don't want us to be Pharisees. Pharisees were ostracized. Pharisees were opposed to Christ. Pharisees really made a mess in society. Jesus goes on and says they crush people. Crush people. And they never lift a finger to ease the burden. I'm not going to elaborate on all these. I believe it's self-explanatory. And if you're anywhere in the ballpark, I believe that the good Lord can speak to your heart about what this is saying. Everything they do is for show. A big show. They wear extra wide prayer boxes. They wear robes with extra long tassels. Now here's the deal. It's not in what we wear. It's if we flaunt it while we're wearing it. If we become arrogant because we're wearing it. I have on chaplain clothes, or I have on suit and tie, and I think, man, I'm dressed to the nines, I look good, and everybody ought to know it. Okay, that's fine. But how about I can just be me in chaplain clothes and preacher clothes, and I don't have to flaunt it, and I don't have to act like I'm somebody better than everybody else. That's what the Pharisees were doing. They love to sit at the head table at the banquet, and they love to receive respectful greetings as they walk in the marketplace. They love to be called rabbi. What's he saying to you and me? He's saying these folks like special attention. They enjoyed being above or aloof or better than or in a position that no one else is. That's an easy trap for preachers to fall into. And I'm seeing more and more how pastors, preachers, chaplains, religious leaders have the same temptation, same type events going on in our life that the law enforcement does. But Jesus said in all of that, don't be a hypocrite. Don't be something you're not. He said, the greatest among you must be a servant. But those who exalt themselves, you know what's coming? An humbling. An humbling. That could hurt. But those who humble themselves will be exalted. Who's the public looking for in a preacher? Who's going to come to my church? Those who don't see me as arrogant. I can be professional. I can be confident in my message, but I can't be arrogant. If I come off as arrogant to you or to my congregation, I'm not going to be able to minister. And Jesus says this in verse 13, and this is what makes me want to warn you and take heed myself. What sorrow awaits you, Pharisees and hypocrites. Verse 13. Sorrow. You see, my job is to preach the good news, the gospel. My job is to let you know that Jesus Christ came and died that we might have life and have it more abundantly. Not to be isolated from society, not to be made fun of, not to have jokes told behind our back. No, my job is for us to miss the sorrow. So take this for what it's worth. Read those verses. Apply them where we need to apply them. And remember, I'm in your boat as a pastor. And we all have the temptations. But let's miss the sorrow. Thanks for watching Cop Church.